Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 8. Today, we want to present about the nature of language change. Before that, let me introduce our team members. First, Agni Reza as the first speaker, and then Kotima, the second speaker, and the last, me, Afra Sausan, as the third speaker. Okay, now, Agni Reza, the time is yours.
I will talk about variation and change of language. According to Ferdinand de Saussure as quoted by Edison, time changes all things. There is no reason why language should escape from this universal law. And variation and change of language. In the first one, there is change in sound. Change in sound when pronouncing a phoneme in words are understandable in language change. In linguistics, this is called naturalizations. The second one is change of words. The word change here can be interpreted as the replacement of a word used to refer to a meaning with other words which were considered acceptable in their time. Third is spelling change. The change in spelling can clearly be observed in the differences between American English and British English. The difference in spelling in American English and British English occurs because of the underdevelopment of spelling standards in the past. It was only around 1755 that the dictionary of the English language was published, which became the standard for British English and American English, using Noah Webster, an American dictionary of the English language. The fourth is change in meaning. Change of meaning becomes an interesting issue in language change. Why? For example, like this. We talk to our parents about the word eggs, which can be interpreted with other meanings. The reason is the word eggs in their day mean A, whereas in our day it could have mean either A or B. And the last one is grammar change. Sounds, including of sounds, words, and meaning can change.
My name is Kotima. I'm the second speaker, and I will share you about how do change spread. First, from group to group, many linguists have used the metaphor of wave to explain how linguistic change spread through a community. Any particular change typically spreads simultaneously in different directions, so not necessarily at the same rate in all directions. Social factors such as age, status, gender, and region affect the rate of change and the direction in which the wave moves swiftly. The wave metaphor is one useful way of visualizing the spread of a change from one group to another. Next slide. Second, from style to style. One story of how a change spread presents the process as a very systematic one. In the speech of a particular individual, it suggests the change spreads from one style to another, say from more formal speech to more casual speech, while at the same time it spread from one individual to another within a social group and subsequently from one social group to another. The next slide about from word to word or lexical division. It seems to be the case that sounds change not only spread from one person to another and from one style to another style. They also spread from one word to another. Sounds change typically spread through different words one by one. This is called lexical division. When a sound change begins, all the words with a particular vowel don't change at once in the speech of a community. People then go to bed one night using the sounds oo, wake up using a, in-house push, how, and out. Instead, the sound chants occur first in one word and then later in another, and so on. And the next slide about how do we study language chants. First, apparent or time studies of language chants. This rather simple example illustrates the way in which information on the language news of different age groups may reveal a direction of linguistic change in a community. A great deal of linguistic variation is stable, but some is an indication of linguistic change in progress. The pattern of the deletion of the regular past tense affix are stable in English-speaking communities. Second, about language tense in real time. The apparent time method of studying language change is a useful shortcut for linguistics who generally cannot afford to wait around for 20 years to see what happens in real time. Sometimes, however, it is possible to build on the work of early linguists when studying change declination, which provide the date when a form was first not kinesis increasing change in vocabulary over time. Okay, that's enough for me. The next speaker by Afra, Dilla, Sausan. The time is yours.
Next, reasons for language change. There are three reasons for language change. The first, social status. Second, gender. And the third, interaction. Social status. People of higher social status in the community introduce changes from other communities which are considered prestigious. For example, upper class London. Members of the group with most social status, for example, tend to introduce changes into speech community from neighboring communities which have greater status and prestige in their eyes. Upper-class London speech has prestige in the eyes of many people from outside London. Middle-class people in Norwich who visit London regularly are, therefore, likely to introduce prestigious new London pronunciations, or in words from London to Norwich. The pronunciation of the vowel in top and dog, for instance, has changed in Norwich from top and dog to RP, top and dog. Middle-class speakers, and especially women, have been among the leaders in this change. Lower-class people spread less conscious linguistic changes. Lower-class speakers are more influential in spreading less conscious linguistic changes. Lower-class men, in particular, often adopt speech forms from nearby local workers to express solidarity, rather than status or prestige. Interestingly, it is not the people at the bottom of the social heap who tend to innovate in this way, but rather those in the middle of the pile. The upper working class is how this group has sometimes been described. It may be that this is the group whose networks have the particular combination of openness, which provides exposure to alternative linguistic forms, together with a level of density which gives the forms an opportunity to get established. People in lower paid jobs use this intonation most frequently, and it clearly functions as a solidarity marker for this group. However, it is currently regarded by many older higher status speakers, in particular, as vulgar and so it may remain within the lower social echelons. Alternatively, it may spread into the informal speech of young people from the higher social groups, and so gradually spread upwards in this way. Gender. Differences in women's and men's speech are another source of variation which can result in linguistic change. Sometimes women are the innovators, leading a linguistic change, and sometimes men. Women tend to be associated with change towards both prestige and vernacular norms, whereas men more often introduce vernacular changes. In Belfast, women are leading changes towards the standard, while men are introducing new vernacular variants. These generalizations account for differences in women's and men's roles in relation to language change in a variety of communities. But there are at least two types of exceptions to these patterns. First, women may also introduce vernacular changes into community, and secondly, there are communities where women are not leading linguistic change in any direction. Interaction. Interaction and contact between people is crucial in providing the channels for linguistic change. Linguistic change generally progresses more slowly in tightly knit communities which have little contact with the outside world. There are plenty of examples of places where isolation has contributed to linguistic conservatism. One of the best known examples of linguistic conservatism is Iceland. Icelandic has altered relatively little since the 13th century, and it has developed very little dialectal variation. Iceland is much more geographically isolated than England, and so it has been much freer from outside influences. But this is not a sufficient explanation for the relative lack of variation in the language. The glaciated middle of the country means that Icelandic communities are scattered around the coast, and communication between them was very difficult in the past, especially in winter. This kind of geographical situation normally leads to a great deal of dialect divergence. Although they were geographically separate, the Icelandic communities had very strong political and cultural ties, and against all the odds, they therefore maintained contact with each other. They held regular annual assemblies at which all the important chiefs gathered. They attached great importance to kinship and friendship links, and so people kept in close contact from generation to generation and over long distance. They talked to each other a lot. Language change often operates within clear limits. Language serves two very basic functions. First, a referential or informative function, and a social or affective function. Most of this has focused on the contribution of social factors to linguistic change, examining how and why it proceeds as it does. The function of linguistic forms as markers of social status or as signals of solidarity have been extensively discussed. The requirement that language convey referential meaning as well as expressing social or affective functions, such as group identity, impose another constraint on the linguistic development. Language change does not proceed at a rate which results in unintelligibility between groups in contact. The referential requirements are always present. Two parents often complain they cannot understand their children's slang. There is never any real danger that members of groups who interact regularly will lose linguistic contact. That's all from Group 8 about the nature of language change. Thank you very much.